welcome to another episode of Heart of the Dragon. I'm here right now with my dog, Oscar Rocky. It's such a gorgeous day today. It's a holiday, and I just couldn't resist getting outside and enjoying the sun. I get cooped up a lot during the winter and stuff, so I just can't wait till summer comes. We live in Wisconsin, which is pretty cold, and when that warm weather comes, we just love getting outside and getting some vitamin D and being out with nature, don't we? One of the benefits of being outside is that the earth has a natural energy field. So we live in a world with a lot of electromagnetic frequencies from our phones and our Wi-Fi and our cable, internet, and all those things. And so sometimes we just need to get back out to nature and enjoy more natural things for our bodies. When you're outside, it's important to protect yourself from ticks, so I always have my own homemade tick spray, which is made of vinegar and water, and also you can add essential oils like peppermint or geranium oil, and that the ticks don't like that, so you spray this on, and that will help protect you when you're outside. We live in a house where we have 3 kids. And my husband, Mel, he owns his own business, his own window cleaning company, and he works out of the home. So it gets pretty hectic and crazy here. There's some days the phone's ringing off the hook, and the kids are home in the summer, and me being an introvert, sometimes I just need to desensitize and get out of and just take a break. And so when it's a beautiful day like today, I just like to take a break and go outside and just enjoy the sun. And when I go outside, I like to combine both my exercise and Bible study time. So I was just going to show you some of the exercises that I do during the day just to help my body feel better. For me, I am not able to do a lot of like aerobics or working out, but I do need to take care of my body. And so I try to take time every day if I can to do that. Stretching is really important for me. In the past, have had difficulty with posture, and I would kind of slouch like this, and because of that, my back is somewhat curved, and I have issues with back pain and stuff. And so it's really important that I take time to work on my posture, and my breathing, and stretching, and it's just a relaxing thing. So I'll show you some of the basic stretches that I like to do every day that just to help my body. My back feel good and my body just kind of relax. So these are some of the stretches that I tend to do, and during that I do some deep breathing. So this one is really good for my back because it just stretches it out, and it's just relaxing. And then this is a back stretch. It's like a cat stretch that I like to do just to loosen things up, and it feels good. And then I like to stretch my arms and my legs. So I do this just to give my arms and legs a good stretch. And all the while I'm doing this, I practice my belly breathing. Make sure I take good deep breaths. Then it's important to work on core strength, so I like to, the plank is a good core strength exercise. I don't really like the plank, the way it makes me feel, so this is a modified version. It's called a side plank, and it's just to work on core strength. For me, breathing, core strength, posture, and balance is important. So here's an exercise that helps me with my balance. And then I come up like this, so then I have to balance myself on this leg. So it's just good because of having chronic vertigo and issues of balance. This is just a good exercise to strengthen that part of my body and get things working the way it should. And then sitting on your sitting position is really important too. So this is a good position just to work on your physical posture, and I try to make sure that my back is straight, and then I may just stretch my arms up like this. Oh, that feels really good on my back. You know, good body mechanics is important. And then stretch my arms over. There we go. Ah, that feels good. Just so, you know, even taking a few minutes just to stretch and breathe, and get your body going. So I feel good, I feel relaxed, and I feel at peace. Another exercise that I like to do, it's not really an exercise, but it's a relaxation activity. It's one that my chiropractor and my cranialsacral therapist has me do, and it's called Stillpoint Induction. So this is what it looks like, and he recommends doing this about 20 minutes a day. Because my life is crazy busy with taking care of the kids and having my husband business at home and stuff, it's not really realistic to do it daily, but I try to do it when I can. And outside is just a great time to do that. You can be outside, you're grounding and just relaxing, enjoying the sun or sometimes the shade. But what you do is you lay flat on your back for 20 minutes and you put the base of your head kind of by where the occiput is on the back of your head. And it kind of is like a mini chiropractor or a mini cranial session for yourself, and it helps kind of release some of those brain fluids. And if you get it just right in the right spot in the back of the head, your body goes into kind of a relaxation mode, and it's just very, very relaxing. And so it takes some getting used to. My daughter used to do it, and she always said it kind of gave her a headache. But for me, it's just a very enjoyable and relaxing activity. So I really like to do that. Well, now that I'm done with my exercises, then I just like to sometimes come outside and enjoy just a nice cup of juice. That's what I like to have in the breakfast sometimes. I make my own homemade juice. I like to use fresh herbs from my potted herb garden, so I like to use things like peppermint. I use a lot of peppermint, cilantro, parsley. I have some pineapple sage that I even like to put a little bit of that in there, and it tastes really tasty. So when I make my juice drink, maybe I'll film sometime what I do, but I like to add beet and ginger and peppermint are like my 3 favorite flavors, and I usually add a little bit of hot water with some coconut oil. It might sound kind of weird, but it's actually pretty tasty. It's a nice spicy drink. So I like to just sit outside and enjoy my me introvert time with my juice, and I do my exercises. But I also, when I'm exercising, I also like to spend some of that time in prayer and Bible study. I've been blogging since 2011 about God's sovereignty and pain and suffering, and kind of talking about my journey with having a lot of issues with my health. But I wanted to kind of bring that to a positive place. So a couple years ago, I started a blog called Joyful Mama, and that kind of became my social media name too, is Joyful Mama, because my mission in life is to find joy, and my life is about a pursuit of joy. Recently on Facebook, one of my Facebook friends asked, how do you really find joy? I mean, what is that about? Someone give me your secret. When you're in chronic pain and you have a lot of dizziness and vertigo, and you have a lot of worries, like maybe you're worrying about money and how are you going to pay for your medical care or your kids' medical care or spouse or loved one, it is hard to be joyful. It's a challenge. Life has a lot of challenges and difficulties, and I can honestly, if I honestly said that I was happy all the time, that'd be a lie, obviously. And I could tell you, my kids would tell you that, especially when I'm in pain or I'm dizzy and I am a pretty determined person, and I don't like to have other people do things for me, and I like to be able to be the person taking care of the cooking and chores, but sometimes my body doesn't like it, or I get a little overwhelmed because I'm in pain. And so obviously I get a little cranky, or I don't seem very joyful at times, but definitely in the process of growing as a person, especially with having a son who's got a lot of pain and who's a lot of noise or stress causes his pain to get worse. It's definitely been God's way of teaching me to calm down and relax a little bit, or just to try to push my own emotions aside to focus on making sure that we're having a calm household. Do I do it perfect? Absolutely not, but I try. It's really important for me when you're thinking of being joyful that I'm intentional about looking at what the joy really looks like and how I can pursue joy even when we're having a rough week or a rough day. You got to make it an intentional part of your life. And so even when things are crazy, and they, believe me, they are. I mean, some weeks it's hard for me even to get a decent night's sleep. Sometimes I only get 1 or 2 hours sleep at a night because of just there's so much going on and so much things to worry about. So it's a challenge, but I make it a daily effort to just break away and have some time with the Lord and some time out in nature, or just doing those things that is good for my body and good for my spirit. So I have my white bag here that my husband teases me because this is I call it my Bible book bag, because I'm kind of a book and journaling fanatic. I'm a writer, and I like to read, and so I always have to have books and things to study with me. So I'm going to show you, this is what I would call my arsenal of joyful things that I use to try to keep my life in check. I always have to have a journal. I'm a journal fanatic. This is my daily journal, and I'm always writing things down, making lists, and that's how I just keep track of everything, whether it's appointments and doctor's visits, or what medications I got to give my son, what days I have certain treatments or therapies, what I have to do to help my husband, just all those things. I just journal that and document that in my journal every day. And so it's almost just like something I have to have, and if I can't find it or something, you can ask my family. I'm like, where's my journal? I just get kind of crazy about that. And then I always have, when you're talking about joyful and being intentional, we need to be intentional about thinking about the things that give us joy, and we want to even make a list. So this is my list of, not only I have prayers in here every year on New Year's. My tradition on New Year's Eve is I sit and reflect on the year, or how were prayers answered, what are my goals for the year, and I make a list of those things, and I make a list of what I want to pray for this year. And with that, I always have a list of what I call my gratitude list, and I've been doing this for at least 5 or 6 years. My main goal is to have at least 1,000 things a year. It's early July, and I'm actually almost to 1,000 already. So every day I just take some time. I used to do it at bedtime, but I'm so exhausted usually by bedtime now. I try to do it more in the morning during my exercise and reflection time. I think about, what am I thankful for? What things give me joy? And I list them out. So I have things like sounds and sights of nature, the echoes of morning doves, my 9-year-old son's first sleepover, see my son smile, sunshine after the rain, gorgeous flowers in the summer, watching my garden flourish. Those are healing rain. Those are some of the things that I wrote this week in my gratitude journal. So I always try to at least come up with 4 things a day. And that just helps me, again, be intentional. What am I thankful for? Am I thanking God? I mean, even when we're having a bad day or life seems rough, we have a lot of worries, there's always something we can be thankful for. Then I wanted to share with you some of my books and things that I like to read. I try to do a devotional. For anyone that's dealing with any type of trauma, stressful situation, a chronic health issue, has a lot of worries, I recommend the book. It's called Streams in the Desert. And it's a devotional, a daily devotional. And my friend Joanne Longin, who is a prayer warrior and a mentor to me, she gave this to me. It's her book, and it's a beautiful book. And this book just really speaks to me. It feeds my soul, and it talks a lot about God's sovereignty and suffering, and kind of the message that God has given me this year, because we're dealing more with middleman, my 14-year-old son, and a lot of his just distress and health. This has really helped me kind of keep things in perspective. And it says to me, be still. And so God says that to me a lot. Darcy, you need to be still. Because in that situation, and in the situation with my daughter when she was in college this year and she got really sick and she was far away, I just was like, God, what the heck am I supposed to do? And he would just tell me, these are my children, release them to me. Be still, be quiet, just come before me and let me love you and let me love your children. And so that's been a really important part of my journey this year. One of the books I am been reading, and I usually work on it about once a week, it's called Your Powerful Prayers by Susie Larson. I just love Susie Larson. She's a radio show talk host and a speaker, and she's just got a lot of wisdom. And Susie Larson actually does have chronic Lyme, and I met her in 2011 before I knew I had Lyme disease, and cried on her shoulder, and she just gave me a lot of love. But I just love how she looks at prayer and how you got to just cling to God and his word during trials, and God can do amazing things in your life if you just trust him. So I've been working on this. I usually read it once a week, and then I like to go through the discussion questions when I'm doing my journaling. And then, of course, I got this beast here. it's this bag. It's falling apart. This is my study Bible, and I keep this with me. And my husband teases me a lot about it. And so does my chiropractor, because it's a monstrosity. It's heavy. But when I got sick, I started to read the Bible, and it just made it a daily habit. And the Bible for me is it's about a relationship with God. It's not any bragging rights, because it's a way of saying, hey, God, I'm really messed up here. My life's falling apart. I'm hurting. What do I do? And he's like, get in here, read this thing. Let me feed you with some truth, and just bring all your pain and your tears and your sweat. Just bring it to me, and we'll work it through. And so that's kind of how my relationship with God is like. You know, I can't say it's perfect. I sometimes get angry, or I get frustrated, emotional, but we just work it out. And I've been going through the Bible several times in the last 7 or 8 years, and I marked the heck out of this thing, and I've written all over it. And so this I always pick in the summertime a book of the Bible that I really want to hone in. Last year it was Proverbs, and this year it's Psalms. So I'm going through the whole book of Psalms right now, and I'm having this book. It's called by Kay Arthur, who's another person I really admire. Has been through a lot of suffering and has a great testimony, and she's used that for her ministry, Precept Ministries, and it says praising God through prayer and worship. And so I'm just going through the book of Psalms right now, and I'm marking the heck out of it. And the Psalms is a good book for someone who's suffering, because the people that wrote the Psalms, you hear people say, oh, you're depressed, and that's not a testimony. You shouldn't say you're depressed, or you shouldn't say that, this and that. But if you read books like Job and the Psalms, these are real people that are hurting and suffering and gone through a lot of awful stuff, and they're real about it. They talk about where their pain is, and sometimes they're angry, sometimes they're grieving, but it's just full of a lot of, in all that emotion, there's a lot of hope. And so I think it's just a really good book. So if you're going through some trials, or if you have a chronic illness, I really recommend you just get down and read those Psalms, and you can turn them into prayers, because they're prayers and songs. It's just a great way to enrich your time with God and your personal time, and just help kind of work through your faith and work through the icky stuff in life. It's just a great book. So those are just some of the things that I'm going to do. It's a beautiful morning here in Wisconsin, and so I'm going to finish up some of my exercises, probably do my Stillpoint, and after I finish my delicious juice, and just spend some time journaling and reading and talking things out with God. So I do most of my notes in these kind of composition books, so I'll probably be writing some notes about what God's telling me and what I see in my study of Psalms, and that'll just help me be grounded. And then the rest of the week, when I'm dealing with the craziness of phone calls and trying to keep up with my family and helping middleman with making sure he gets all his medications and treatments, just all those things, I feel a little more grounded when I just take even like a half an hour out just to stretch and breathe and spend some time with God working through some of these things. So thank you for this time, and I enjoyed sharing a little bit about what I do. Have a good day.
Thank you very much for joining us today. If you liked what you saw today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and then please be sure to hit the subscribe button below, and then be sure to hit the notification bell so that you can receive notifications on all of our future videos. We are on social media, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under the username Joyful Mama. Otherwise, we will also link that in the description below. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.